There are moments when a familiar idea suddenly turns around and looks directly at you. What if the Matrix is not primarily about reality? What if it is about reflection? The machinery outside may reflect the machinery inside. The prison surrounding the body may reflect the prison surrounding the mind. The system achieves its greatest victory when its voice becomes indistinguishable from your own. It no longer has to say, "You cannot." You begin saying, "I cannot." And then comes the moment when knowledge becomes personal. When the mirror turns toward you, and all you can say is, "Shit, I realize." The mirror reveals the pattern. The pause creates a choice, and the choice returns your agency. Look beneath the reflection. Question who wrote the code, and reclaim the power to direct your mind and life. Shit, I realize. Maybe the Matrix was never only around me.
There are moments when a familiar idea suddenly becomes unfamiliar. You've seen it before. You've heard it before. You may have repeated it before, but then, without a warning, the idea turns around and it looks directly at you. That is the moment when information becomes realization. That is the moment when all you can say is, "Shit, I realize."
Shit, I realize. Episode 1. The Matrix is a mirror. As above, so below.
Welcome to this limited series from Esoteric Lore. 3 short journeys into the moment when consciousness catches itself in the act of awakening. And today we begin with, of course, the Matrix. For more than 2 decades, we have been told that the Matrix is a story about reality. Is the world real? Can the senses be trusted? Could everything we experience be a simulation? Those are important questions, but recently another possibility occurred to me. What if the Matrix is not primarily about reality, but about reflection? What if the great secret of the Matrix is not that the world is false, but that the world is showing us something? What if it is a mirror? The Matrix may be the external image of humanity's internal condition. The machinery outside reflects the machinery inside. The prison surrounding the body reflects the prison surrounding the mind. The code shaping the environment reflects the conditioning shaping the individual. The agents who patrol the streets reflects the fear patrolling our consciousness. And Neo's transformation of the world reflects his transformation of himself. As above, so below. As outside, so within. As in the system, so in the self. The ancient principle, as above, so below, is often interpreted as a law of correspondence. The idea is not necessarily that different levels of reality are identical. It is that patterns repeat. The small may reflect the large. The visible may reveal the invisible. The individual may contain an echo of the collective. The body may reflect the mind. The outer world may express structures that began beneath conscious awareness. This does not mean that every event in life is magically produced by our thoughts. It does not mean that victims create their sufferings. It does not mean that war, illness, poverty, trauma, or oppression are merely private projections. The external world possesses real force. Other people have agency. History matters. Biology matters. Power matters. But the Hermetic idea of correspondence suggests that inner and outer worlds may reinforce one another. A political system can shape the psychology of its citizens, and the psychology of those citizens can help preserve the political system. A culture can produce fear, and frightened people can strengthen the culture that frightened them. An institution can teach obedience, and obedient individuals can carry the institution inside themselves long after they leave it. That is the matrix, not simply a machine surrounding humanity, but a machine reproduced within humanity. Think of Neo at the beginning of the story. He senses that something is wrong. He can't name it. He cannot prove it. But the life around him feels strangely incomplete. But he has a job. He has a name. He has social identity, a computer, an apartment, responsibilities, records proving that he exists. From the outside, he appears to be functioning, but something inside him is disturbed by the reflection. The world says, "This is who you are." Something within Neo replies, "No, there's something more." That unease is the first crack in the mirror. Awakening often begins before understanding. It begins as discomfort, attention, a subtle refusal, a suspicion that the life we are living may not be the full measure of the life available to us. Neo does not initially possess that knowledge. He possesses a disturbance. And sometimes disturbance is the beginning of knowledge. Sometimes the discomfort we are trying to silence is actually consciousness attempting to speak. The Matrix presents Neo with an external prison. But the film also shows that the deeper prison is internalized belief. Inside the simulation, gravity appears absolute. Authority appears absolute. Death appears absolute. The agents appear unbeatable. The rules seem fixed because everyone behaves as though the rules are fixed. This is how systems become powerful. They do not survive only through force. They survive through expectation. The system becomes most effective when people begin predicting its victory before the struggle even begins. The prison becomes strongest when the prisoner completes the walls inside his imagination. The external rule says you cannot. Then the internal voice repeats, I cannot. And once the external command becomes an internal identity, constant supervision is no longer necessary. The person begins policing himself. This is where the Matrix stops being science fiction, because every one of us has inherited an invisible code. Goes by the following names: family code, cultural code, religious code, economic codes, racial code, gender, trauma code, success, failure. We are told what strength should look like, what we should love, what intelligence should look like, what a successful life should look like, what kind of person deserves respect, what kind of dream is realistic, what part of ourselves should be hidden, what emotions are acceptable, what possibilities are forbidden. Some of this programming helps us navigate life. Some of it keeps us safe. Some of it passes along as wisdom, but some of it becomes an invisible enclosure. And because we received it before we possess the ability to question it, we may mistake conditioning for personality. We say, this is just who I am, but perhaps it is who you were trained to be. We say, I have always been afraid of that. But perhaps the fear was rehearsed into us. We say, people like me do not do things like that. But perhaps that sentence was installed before we were ever tested it. This is why the matrix is a mirror. It does not merely hide reality from humanity, it reveals how easily a constructed world can become an unquestioned identity. The person forgets that he is interpreting the world. He believes he is merely seeing it. But seeing is never completely passive. We see through memory. We see through expectation. We see through wounds. We see through language, desire, fear, through the stories we inherited about ourselves. Reality enters us through a lens. And when the lens has been present for a lifetime, we stop noticing that we are looking through it. We call the lens reality. Consider Cypher in the Matrix. Cypher escaped the Matrix physically. He knows the stimulus is artificial. He has seen the human pods. He has lived aboard the ship. He possesses the information, but he has not become free. He left the outer matrix without removing the inner matrix. He remains controlled by his appetite, resentment, comfort, status, fantasy. He wants to return to the illusion because the illusion promises pleasure without responsibility. Cypher demonstrates that information alone does not produce awakening. You can know that something is false and still desire it. You can understand your conditioning and still obey it. You can have an oppressive environment and continue carrying its voice inside your mind. You can walk out the building while the building remains in you. That is why freedom is not simply geographical. Freedom is not merely changing environments. Freedom is the gradual recovery of the ability to choose your relationship to what shaped you. Cypher knows the truth intellectually. Neo begins to know it existentially. That is the difference. Neo's awakening is not merely the discovery that the Matrix exists. It is the discovery that the Matrix is operating through his assumption. Each time Neo transcends a rule, something within him must change first. The external world bends only after the internal belief loosens. The transformation does not begin within the wall. It begins with the consciousness approaching the wall. This is the first realization of our series. The system outside you may be reflected in the system inside you. The controlling relationship outside may survive as fear inside. The dismissive parent may survive as your inner critic. The harsh teacher may survive as your fear of speaking. The failed business may survive as a belief that you're not capable. The betrayal may survive as an inability to trust anyone. The institution may disappear. The person may leave. The event may end, but its reflection can remain active. And until we recognize the reflection, we may continue reflecting to the past as though it were still physically present. This is not blame, it's responsibility. Blame says, this happens because something is wrong with me. Responsibility says, this happened, it affected me, and now I must decide what happens next. Agency begins when reflection becomes visible, because what is visible can be examined. What is examined can be questioned. What is questioned can sometimes be changed. So perhaps the central question of the Matrix is not, is this world real? Perhaps it's, what is this world reflecting back to me? What does your anger reveal? What does your recurring conflict say? What does your fear of being seen reveal? What does your attraction to the same destructive relationships reveal? What does your constant need for approval reveal? What does your inability to rest say? What does your obsession with control predict? Not every problem is a projection, but every reaction contains information. The mirror does not always tell us what happened. Sometimes it tells us what remains unresolved. And the purpose of looking into the mirror is not to condemn ourselves. It is to see clearly enough to choose consciously. A mirror does not attack you. A mirror does not rescue you. A mirror reveals. Revelation places responsibility back into your hands. You may not control every structure above you, but you can begin examining the structures operating below your conscious awareness. You may not be able to dismantle every external matrix today, but you can interrupt the moment when its voice tries to become your voice. You can ask, who taught me this? Is this belief true? Is it always true? What evidence have I never allowed myself to examine? What would I choose if I were not making this decision? That pause is a small red pill. The question is a crack in the code. The moment of honest reflection in the beginning is the beginning of agency.
Most people feel pressure to become someone the world can approve of, consume more, be more impressive, gain more control. The temptation story of Jesus is about confronting those exact pressures. Right before the wilderness, Jesus is told, "You are my beloved son." Then the testing begins. The issue is not whether he has identity. The issue is whether the world can redefine it. First comes appetite. Turn stones into bread. Hunger itself isn't the problem. The temptation is becoming ruled by craving, by the need for immediate relief. Jesus refuses to let appetite become his master. Then spectacle. Throw yourself from the temple and prove who you are publicly. It's the logic of performance, branding, attention. Jesus refuses to audition for a name already given. Then power. Take the kingdoms through compromise. Dominate now, justify it later. Jesus refuses to save the world by becoming shaped by domination. That's the deeper freedom here. Fully human, fully pressured, yet never owned by the system trying to rename it.
It's not escaping humanity. It is not remembering who you are while every system around you is trying to rename you. The matrix is not only around us. It is reflected within us. And perhaps awakening does not begin when we escape the world. Perhaps awakening begins when we stop confusing the reflection with the whole of who we are. When we cannot look into the mirror and say, the fear is present, but it is not my master. That conditioning shaped me, but it does not own my future. The voice is inside me, but it may not be mine. That rule exists, but it may not be the ultimate rule. And in that moment, the mirror changes, not because the world has suddenly disappeared, but because the person standing before it has begun to see the matrix. It was not only hiding reality, it was reflecting us back to ourselves. This is esoteric law. Pause. Look in the mirror. Reclaim the agency to choose what happens next.
There's a moment after you hear something true when it lands in your body. Not as an idea, but as a decision. I don't want to keep living on autopilot. Because autopilot isn't weakness. It's your nervous system running fast patterns under pressure. That's why smart people still snap, scroll, avoid, and repeat. Here's the reframe that matters. You are not your reactions. A reaction is a surge. You are the one who can interrupt it. Not by calming down perfectly, but by creating a small gap, a pause, seconds of space where choice becomes possible. That's also why insight alone doesn't change behavior. Under stress, knowledge disappears. Skills don't. Skills are trained. The Agency Academy book gives you the blueprint. It explains what's happening and where your leverage actually is. The Pause app is the training ground. It helps you practice in real moments when it's hard. If you're tired of reacting, go to iwillpause.com. Start training, claim the book, and choose differently in the next moment that matters.
If you like this video, please subscribe, share, and give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you next time.